Donald Trump trying to run for office again. Do you reckon he'll be able to win the Republican Party nomination? And why are Republicans still sort of rallying around him?
That Trump will get the Republican nomination. I think if he is nominated, he will lose for sure.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching The Nation at 5. I'm Anusha Soni. Our top focus this hour is what's happening in the politics of West Bengal. Once again, it's the all-out confrontation between the TMC and BJP. Political appeasement versus the politics of polarization. These are the charges on both the sides. We talk about that at the top of 5.
साल पहले कश्मीर था, अभी बांग्लादेश अफगानिस्तान की हालत जैसी है, बाहर निकलने की अनुमति नहीं है। निकलेगा तो उसके ऊपर पथराव होगा, आक्रमण होगा, महिलाओं पर अत्याचार होगा। और जो सरकार है कानून व्यवस्था संभालने की उनकी क्षमता नहीं है। धीरे धीरे रसातल में जा रहा है बंगाल।
আপনাদের মধ্যে দিয়ে বিদ্যাসাগরকে দেখতে পাই, যারা আমাদের মাতৃভাষা শিখিয়েছেন, আজকে পারবেন না তো দাঙ্গাবাজদের রুখতে, গুন্ডাবাজদের রুখতে।
And politics continues in the state of West Bengal after two violent incidents took place in the state within a span of just 4 days. The state government is once again in dock. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee slammed the Saffron Party after the BJP claimed that an attack took place on its Shobha Yatra in Hooghly. Mamata Banerjee alleged that BJP is deliberately entering minority areas with Yatra without the permission. BJP has protested against the state government over the worsening law and order situation in the state. BJP State President Sukanto Majumdar was stopped from entering Hooghly. Section 144 has also been imposed in the area. BJP alleged that their yatra was attacked in Hooghly and stones were pelted in the area. BJP MLA Biman Joshi Ghosh along with 10 others sustained injuries in that alleged attack that took place. Listen in to what the Chief Minister said, the attack coming in from the BJP and the response of the government.
আমি হিন্দু ভাই বোনেদের দায়িত্ব দিয়ে রাখবো, রমজান চলছে, মুসলিমদের উপর যাতে কোনো অত্যাচার না হয়, হিন্দু ভাই বোনেরা গ্রামে গ্রামে জেলায় জেলায় ওদের প্রোটেক্ট করবেন, ওদের ভালো করে রক্ষা করবেন। ওরা মাইনরিটি, ওরা যেন আমাদের কাছ থেকে বিচার পায়, কোনো তপশিলির গায়ে যেন হাত না পড়ে। দয়া করে বিজেপির দাঙ্গাকে সমর্থন করবেন না এবং সিপিএম বিজেপির যে হাটে হাড়ি ভাঙা সেটা আমরা ভেঙে দিয়েছি। আগামী দিন আরো ভাঙবো। আস্তে আস্তে দেখবেন গুটিয়ে লেজ গুটিয়ে পালিয়ে যাবে। বাংলা থেকে লেজ গুটিয়ে পালিয়ে যেতে কিভাবে হয় আমরা সেটা আগামী দিন দেখিয়ে দেব।
देखिए, अभी तक हम यहाँ पे बैठे नहीं थे, हम साइड में बैठे हुए थे। रास्ता हमने पूरा खुला रखा था क्योंकि हम चाहते थे कि जनता की कोई असुविधा ना हो, जनता यहाँ से जा सके, आ सके। लेकिन बैड लक ये है सर, पुलिस किसी भी तरीके से हमारे साथ कोऑपरेशन करने के लिए उनका मूड ही नहीं है। हम जहाँ पे हैं यहाँ पे 144 नहीं है, जहाँ जाना चाहते हैं वहाँ पे 144 नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी पुलिस हमें जाने के लिए रोक रहे हैं। ये पुलिस पूरी तरीके से TMC की ऑर्डर के साथ काम कर रही है। उनका मालिक है, उन मालिक ममता बनर्जी इंस्ट्रक्शन देखे रखे।
इतनी लंबी शोभा यात्रा, पूरा टाउन घूम रहा है, हजारों लोग हैं, बच्चे हैं, महिलाएं हैं, उनके ऊपर अचानक पथराबाजी होती है। हावड़ा का दूसरे घटना होने के बाद भी सरकार कितना सचेत है मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। तो पूरा समाज को जो अस्त व्यस्त किया जा रहा है, प्रोवोक किया जा रहा है, इसका अगर प्रतिक्रिया हो तो इसका जिम्मेदार कौन होगा? ममता बनर्जी केवल राजनीति देखती हैं, नहीं तो आज ये होने की कोई संभावना ही नहीं था। पुलिस अगर पहले से और नजर रखता है जहाँ गड़बड़ होता है, जो लोग गड़बड़ करते हैं, तो ये घटना नहीं होती।
दिलीप घोष ने प्रोवोक कर दिए चले गए। He is the perpetrator of the crime. He is the perpetrator of the crime. BJP একটা ক্রিমিনালের দল হয়ে গেছে। All criminals are in BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party.
ये कहीं ना कहीं टीएमसी मानसिकता यानी तानाशाही मानसिकता और कल्चर और तुष्टिकरण मानसिकता और कल्चर के चलते ही इस प्रकार के हमले लगातार हो रहे हैं। ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है कि आज वेस्ट बंगाल में कानून व्यवस्था पूर्ण तरीके से ध्वस्त हो चुकी है और जिस प्रकार से लगातार हमले हो रहे हैं इससे कई सारे सवाल चिन्ह खड़े हो रहे हैं।
हुबली बहुत सेंसिटिव जगह है, लेकिन जहाँ जहाँ इलेक्शन नज़दीक आता है और बीजेपी को लगता है कि वो चुनाव हार रहे और जहाँ जहाँ विपक्ष की सरकारें होती हैं वहाँ पे दंगे होते हैं और भारतीय जनता पार्टी आग में तेल छिड़कने का काम करती है। अमित शाह जी जहाँ भी चले जाते हैं मुझे डर पैदा हो जाता है कि वहाँ पे झगड़े और हंगामे शुरू ना हो जाएं।
Cutting across to my colleague Kamalika Sengupta, she's been tracking all the details from the ground. She's live with us from Hooghly. Kamalika, what's the sense on the ground? You've been reporting about the political discourse on both the sides. Law and order for now seems to be under the control, but the political temperatures continue to rise.
Yeah, absolutely. Political temperature is on rise, and right now you can see that Bengal BJP president and the other MPs they are sitting on dharna. Would like to ask them over 4 hours they are sitting here. Mr. Majumdar, what led you sit here in the dharna? It's more than 3 hours that you are sitting here.
We are not sitting here more than 3 hours. So actually, we were waiting.
You were stopped for more than 3 hours.
Yeah, I have been stopped more than 3 hours with my supporters. I have requested several times police that they should allow us to go to a certain portion where 144 is not imposed, but police is not allowing. This time also we have requested them that we will go by legs, that means by walk, but police did not allow us, and that's why I have been compelled. We have been compelled to sit in demonstration here.
So how long will you, will you sit?
That will depend upon the situation. We will discuss with our leadership and we will decide. Later on, I will inform you regarding the future.
Mamata Banerjee has said 6th also is Hanuman Jayanti and BJP has plans to create disturbance, and this is absolutely a conspiracy of BJP. What do you have to say?
So before Ram Navami also Mamata Banerjee stated this kind of lines that during the Ram Navami procession should not go through the Muslim areas. That was an indication that towards the Muslim, certain portion of the Muslims, not all Muslims, the fanatic Muslim, that you attack on the Ram Navami Julus, Ram Navami procession. Again, it is nothing but the provocation given by the Mamata Banerjee herself. That is the same of this state, that on 6th, if the Hindus bring out any kind of procession, the fanatic Muslims should attack that.
Mamata Banerjee also said that this is a place in Bengal where all religion are different but festivals are together. Now this is BJP which is bringing in the riot culture here. That's what Mamata Banerjee is saying. What do you have to say?
Yesterday when the Ram Navami procession was going on in Rishra, the procession was attacked by the local hooligans and bombs were charged on the Ram Navami Ram Bhakts. So who charged bomb from the masjid? Do BJP pay, does BJP pay any salary to Muazzim and the Maulanas? TMC, that is the TMC government, pays, Mamata Banerjee pays the salary to the Muazzim and the Maulanas. That means she controls Maulana and Muazzim. That means the bomb was actually charged by the few Muslims on the instruction given by the Mamata Banerjee.
But common people are sufferers, What do you have to say on that?
Common people are the sufferers, and the responsible person for this is the Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee doing all this to consolidate his minority votes. That is the thing. It is totally political danga, not a religious danga.
So here was BJP's state president who is saying that this is political danga, not a religious danga, and whatever is taking place here, whole responsibility goes to Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister of Bengal.
Kamalika, I'm also curious to know, there was a PIL that was filed at the Calcutta High Court. by none other than the leader of opposition in the state of West Bengal. And that PIL and whatever happens in that seeking an NIA probe was also very closely anticipated upon. The intervention from the judiciary in the past in such political contests between the TMC and the BJP has been very decisive. So clearly all eyes on the High Court if it decides to do something.
No, the High Court has asked the government to give a report by 6.
Yeah.
Today the hearing was there, and also has asked that normalcy should prevail in that Howrah area. This BIL was done by Shubhendu Odhikari. So this is one side of it. And again the hearing will take place on 6th.
All right, Kamalika, thank you so much for getting us all the details. On the 6th is the next hearing, as Kamalika pointed out. Prima facie, the court has said that law and order should be maintained, no adverse situation on the ground. A report has been sought from the government. The relief that was sought is that NIA should look after this matter, and the BJP continues to gain momentum on the ground, trying to make this a political issue, saying it's not a communal issue, but rather a political issue which has been done at the behest of the ruling party. TMC, of course, denies all these allegations. Joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Tushar Gupta, the senior editor of Swaraj magazine. Mr. Suman C. Raman, who is a political analyst, is also joining us on the broadcast. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Raman, coming to you first. How do you see this latest standoff? It's a deja vu of the past, or this is a far more aggressive BJP?
First of all, I am extremely disappointed that we are going back into an era which one had hoped one had moved on from. But unfortunately, I think the objective seems to be again to raise communal tensions. Now, all we've got to do is to ask ourselves and get the answer to one question: who benefits from such polarization? Who stands to gain politically? Who stands to gain electorally? And the answer will be very clear. So I think that Mamata Banerjee has definitely, though at times there have been occasions when she may have been accused of minority appeasement, she has by and large tried to run a secular administration. And I think that the aim is to put pressure and to try to polarize the electorate further in West Bengal, perhaps with an eye on the 2024 Lok Sabha
Mr.
election.
Raman, I don't deny the fact that the realpolitik or the electoral realities often dominate what's happening on the ground in unfortunate instances like these. But with due respect, isn't this oversimplification of history of violence in the state of West Bengal? The Bharatiya Janata Party and their strong political presence in the state of West Bengal is rather a new or a contemporary phenomena. But the presence of this kind of religious communal violence on occasions like Navratri or Ram Navami, in fact, goes back into decades. This has existed for a very long time, irrespective of the BJP, and the fact that they benefit from it in some way could be just a byproduct, could be just a secondary factor, and perhaps we are missing the substance here.
Now let me make a few points here.
Sure.
West Bengal has a long history of political violence.
That's right.
And predominantly the violence would be carried out earlier by those affiliated with the communist parties who had 30+ years in uninterrupted run in power. And there would be occasions where Congress workers would be hacked, and then there would be a lot of political violence. But West Bengal has not regularly seen the kind of communal issues and tensions, unlike political violence, where it has been endemic. For instance, even in Kerala, we know that there is a strong tendency towards political violence, not so much towards communal violence. So I think that we have to differentiate between the two. The fact that, look, none of these things happen spontaneously. Everybody knows that violence, these kind of incidents, so when you go on a procession, if you carry swords, if you go through particular areas and then incite, people there, it does tend to get a blowback. Now, using that, it helps to polarize the community further. And who benefits from that? How does the TMC stand to gain by polarization of the electorate? It does not. So there's only one party that stands to gain, and everybody knows who that party is, and therefore it is extremely, juvenile to put the blame on the TMC, because the TMC, if anything, stands to lose, not gain from polarization or from any violence that
No,
may happen.
you're absolutely right that in the immediate scheme of things, that TMC doesn't stand to gain anything. But as a student of politics, I do believe that appeasement and polarization exist simultaneously, and one cannot exist without the other. That's how the politics operate. Tushar Gupta, coming to you, Mr. Sumansi Raman has a very straightforward point here, that the present day politics and the manner in which it's happening on the communal lines benefits only one political party. And the fact that we are so close to the electoral season, some local panchayat elections are just around the corner, shouldn't we add 2+2? That this is something which has been festered by the BJP?
Well, if it's indeed been festered by the BJP, why do we have a sitting chief minister of Bengal saying that the Hindu processions shouldn't pass through Muslim areas or minority areas? Anusha, what are Muslim areas? What are minority areas? The last I checked, I heard this was a secular country. It was a democratic country. You and I can move wherever we want to. The processions can move wherever they want to. Last I checked, there was no restrictions on any Muslim processions passing through Hindu areas. I've never heard of the phrase Hindu areas even, or Sikh areas, or Christian areas, or Jain areas, or Parsi areas. Sure, there are localities where communities come together to live, but they do not restrict the movement of any other community. So where does the question of minority or Muslim area come into place? And this is not the first time Mamata Banerjee has uttered such a careless remark. There was a time when she recommended that the Durga Puja immersions should happen the next day because it was Muharram on the same day. And the court came down heavily on her, asking that why does she believe that the two communities cannot celebrate their festivals together? So if anything, Mamata Banerjee has a history of minority appeasement at the cost of the majority. Now, why does she do that? Why does she really walk into a trap, political trap rather, which will benefit the opposition party? Only she can explain. Perhaps the objective of minority appeasement is bigger than the whole communal polarization that happens on the ground. Look at what happened during the post-poll violence, Anusha. We've forgotten. Just a year and a half ago, what did the NHRC report say? It said that people, especially Hindus, were targeted because of their political inclinations. Women, children were targeted because of their political inclination. So let's not dismiss everything that has been festered by the BJP. BJP or no BJP, there is a history of polarization in Bengal, and what Mamata Banerjee is doing is only furthering it. Why would she say that the onus only lies with the Hindus? Why wouldn't she say
I don't
that
think,
the onus
I don't
lies
think
with
that
both
that
Hindus
argument
and Muslims
is tenable in
ensure
law
that the
or in
festival
political
is
equity,
fulfilled?
that one community has the onus of maintaining peace. I have to wrap up the debate, but Mr. Raman, 30 seconds to you. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
If Mr. Tushar would be kind enough to explain why you need to go on a procession carrying guns and swords, then it would sort of help me to understand which religion says that you have to carry a gun when you go on a Ram Navami procession, for instance, or swords. We have seen the videos, we have seen the visuals.
Did you see the Astik videos, Mr. Raman? Did you see the stone pelting in the videos?
No, one second. I want to interject here. No, I don't think stones justify the presence of swords and guns. But that being said, sir, even if a procession has guns and swords allegedly in their hands, it's the job of the police to arrest these people. It's not the job of any community or any local population to start pelting stones. So I don't think the guilt on one side justifies the violence on the other side. And this is exactly the vicious cycle that I was talking about. But I agree with the point that Mr. Raman said in the beginning of the debate, when TMC came to power and when Mamata Banerjee became the chief minister, the left rule ended. The entire conviction was, the entire hope was that the history of violence will be over. Mr. Raman, with the intervention of the High Court, and Tushar was talking about when the National Human Rights Panel was formed, the High Court had come down heavily on that time on the ruling administration. And I agree that at that time, the state machinery police was reporting to the Election Commission. So I don't know to what extent Mamata Banerjee can be held accountable. But these kind of statements that the procession passed through a minority dominated area, what does that mean?
Let me tell you. You ask any policeman in any part of the country, BJP state, Congress state, any rules, any party rule state, the first thing that they will tell you is, look, when we give routes permission for religious processions, we would always take precautions to avoid, now irrespective of whether this is a procession of the minority community or the majority community
Right.
to avoid areas where there could be confrontation.
Right.
That is common sense law and order policing. And this is not a West Bengal police people or anything.
That's
I mean,
wrong.
I know,
That's
for instance,
fake
my
I
news.
have
in
with me on the
Doesn't work
broadcast
that
Mr.
way.
Kanchan Gupta, who is a
Doesn't
senior
work that way.
advisor to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Gupta, good evening. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We're talking about the violence that panned out in the state of West Bengal. And once again, the question has been raised on the politics of appeasement versus polarization. How do you see the instances or the unfortunate instances that panned out on the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami?
Yeah, I was watching the discussion, and I find it stunning that somebody who knows nothing about West Bengal's politics and how politics has been playing out over there is raising questions about the BJP. First of all, these were Ram Navami processions, not organized by the BJP. So let's get that clear. Number two, Ram Navami processions have been attacked in the previous years also. The place in Howrah where the procession was attacked was the same place where it was attacked last year too. Now, they had a full written permission. The route which they had taken was the approved route. Documents have been placed in the public domain showing that police permission was given, the route was cleared. Third point which I would like to make is that the attack was one-sided, that injuries were all one-sided, that the police stood there and the videos which are available in the public domain,
Right.
they clearly show the police standing around doing nothing. And not only the police, there were I think RAF personnel also. So clearly they had instructions not to take any action.
Okay.
And the last point which this gentleman who's waxing eloquent on West Bengal politics, without possibly, he hasn't even visited the state once. Let me remind this person that videos in the public domain show mobs bursting into housing societies and trying to break into homes.
Right. Mr.
So
Gupta,
we cannot ignore all
Sure.
this evidence and keep on asking who gains from this polarization. Well, let me tell him that ever since the TMC lost the by-election, the latest by-election, it has been trying to recapture a certain section of the vote. And this is part of its effort to recapture that vote, because that vote was, in the last by-election, it had shifted away from the TMC to the Congress. I'm referring to the Sagar Digi by-election.
Right.
So let's get the facts over here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gupta, can I raise one point with you which has been specifically raised on this debate since you were hearing it? And I agree with you that this is a rather very oversimplistic assessment and understanding of West Bengal if you say that violence has got something to do with the BJP, and saying that they benefit from it is a direct correlation of there's some kind of tacit involvement. I don't think that holds very much in ordinary reasoning as well. But there's one argument that has been raised that this procession, there were people who were holding guns and swords, and they went with the intent of quote-unquote provoking the local population
there. That is an absurdity. And because till the point where they were attacked, the procession was peaceful. The person who's raising this point should dig out and watch the videos of the Muharram processions in Calcutta and in Bengal. Processions which have been given precedence over the Dashami celebrations of Hindus. And then only should that person comment on it. Either way, what was the police doing? If they had spotted weapons, they should have immediately moved in and arrested those people.
Exactly.
Why didn't they do it? Why is it being said post facto? What happened at Risha last night? Who was carrying guns and swords and arms. Just watch those videos. Now, all I'm saying is that let us not reduce the enormity of what has happened in Bengal. It is of great concern.
Yes.
It is of great worry, and we should not reduce it to such asinine comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Suman Sriraman is with us on the broadcast. Mr. Raman, I believe you would want to rebut few arguments. 30 seconds to you, sir. Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, I think this whataboutery, have you seen Muharram processions where they have carried swords? Does not justify carrying of swords here. That is pure and simple whataboutery to say that they are carrying swords, so people here can also carry swords. Yes, it is the duty of the state government and the state police to have taken action. So in that sense, it is a failing of the state police. There is no doubt about it. Any violence which happens in a state is the responsibility of the state. So to that extent, nobody is arguing about it. But this whole argument that, only one side indulged in violence, the other side did nothing, there was no provocation and all that. Did you see videos? I mean, Mr. Gupta has his own political point of view, which is why he is where he is. But I mean, that's a different issue altogether. But to say that, most of these communal clashes, there are issues where there is provocation and there is retaliation and there is a clash which then subsequently happens. Now,
well, sir, I'm short of time and I'm sorry I'm interrupting you there, but I'd close by saying that polarization is a direct result of long-term policies of appeasement and some ground issues which on a political and a policy level have not been settled, and it can happen on either side. And that being said, the history of political violence in the state of West Bengal predates the strong political existence of the BJP, and hence there cannot be a simplistic understanding of what has happened. It indeed is a complex and a critical issue. Moving on to another big story of the day. It's a setback for Rahul Gandhi from the Surat Sessions Court. The Sessions Court has refused to grant him an interim stay on the conviction. That's what he requires if he wants to do away with the disqualification. Now, Rahul's legal team had sought a stay on the conviction along with the suspension of the sentence. The court has said that such an order cannot be passed without hearing the merits of the case. There need to be arguments that need to be conducted. As expected, notice has been issued to the complainant in the case, and the complainant needs to respond by the 10th of April. His side of the story will also be heard. Next hearing has been scheduled on the 13th of April, and that's when we are expecting that arguments will happen on the merits, and only then the court can decide if at all there can be a stay on conviction. That's what Rahul Gandhi requires if he wants to challenge the disqualification and wants to be reinstated as a member of the parliament. This comes after Rahul Gandhi had challenged his conviction in the Surat Session Court. The appeal was on the ground that Rahul Gandhi did not defame the OBC community, and the judgment that was earlier pronounced had grave errors in law. Now, CNN News 18 accesses Rahul Gandhi's plea challenging the trial court order sentencing him to 2 years of imprisonment in the defamation case. The plea claims that the trial court order ought to have seen that documents placed on records are not properly proved and are not admissible further. In this entire petition, Rahul Gandhi argues that there are grave errors of law that has been clearly overlooked by the magistrate court, and it is also said that the complainant wasn't an aggrieved person and had no right to file the case. One of the preliminary objections that Rahul Gandhi and his team has raised is that this particular person who filed this criminal defamation case has no locus standi in this entire matter. Ananya with us on the broadcast. Ananya, the broad limb of the arguments in this appeal.
Well, definitely, Anusha, a broad limb of the argument comes in from here. The judgment and conviction order, the sentence passed by the learned CJM is erroneous, patently perverse, and is flagrant violation of the principles of appreciation of evidence in criminal trial, illegal, and unwarranted on the facts and circumstances of the case. Now, if I go down on this judgment a little, you can see that the judgment or order of the conviction passed by the learned CJM is bad in law and against the way of evidence. So basically what Rahul Gandhi has constantly been arguing is that there was no kind of evidence that was available on record to actually prove that there were defamation allegations against Rahul Gandhi. And in fact, also he has questioned, he said that the trial court ought to have seen that there wasn't any mens rea in the form of intention to harm or knowledge that it will harm or offense wasn't proved. He also further goes on to say the trial court hasn't considered the ratio of so many judgments that the collections of persons should be identifiable, definite, determinative and well defined, and doesn't discuss at all whether the persons having surname Modi or person known as Modi can be said to be identifiable, definite, determinate as well as well defined body of persons or not. In fact, in some parts of the order, he has also said that the trial court is urged in believing that the appellant accused did not stop after allegations against Shri Narendra Modi, Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi, Mehul Choksi, Vijay Mallya. He didn't stop, so he had the intention to defame persons named Modi. Why all these are surnames? And if he had the intention to harm Modi, he must not have just stopped at that particular sentence, is what Rahul Gandhi is saying in his appeal. So basically, Rahul Gandhi is saying that, it was not only the Prime Minister or only the Modi community that he had targeted, but he had targeted various other people, including Vijay Mallya, including Mehul Choksi, is what he's going to say in his 45-page appeal that he has filed. We have more paragraphs from this part. The applicant accused submits that from the above so-called defamatory comments in the are clear that barring one allegedly sentence, i.e. why all thieves are surnamed Modi, all the alleged defamatory comments are against Shri Narendra Modi personally. The applicant accused submits that the respondent complainant is not an aggrieved person to file this complaint so far as the alleged defamatory statement against Shri Narendra Modi.
As my colleague Anand is breaking all the exclusive details, the key limb of the argument that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his legal team are putting before the Sessions Court, one, is that the complainant did not have a locus. He was not directly aggrieved by the statement of Mr. Gandhi. He did not suffer any kind of damage or loss that can be argued or put forward to a court through certain form of evidence. So that's one part that they're raising. The second argument that the Congress party, or in fact Mr. Rahul Gandhi legally speaking, are raising before the court is that when that particular statement was made, there was no reference to a community as is being painted, that the entire Modi community was painted in a certain light. But in fact, Mr. Gandhi wanted to highlight the corruption cases that have come to light. So one on the merit and second on the technicality that there is no locus. Let's see to what extent is the Sessions Court convinced. Ananya Bhatnagar with all the details on that application or the petition that has been made via an appeal to the Sessions Court. All eyes on the next day of hearing. Well, we'll continue tracking this story and much more here on CNN News 18 on the other side of a very quick break. Stay tuned.
इश्यूज का है, यहाँ मैं जुडिशियल प्रोनाउंसमेंट का बात कर रहा हूँ कि कोर्ट ने जब किसी को कन्विक्शन कर दिया तो उसके बाद ये जो ड्रामा कर रहे हैं, ये बेसिकली जो ऊपर के जो अदालत है उसको ऊपर में दबाव डालने के लिए, डराने के लिए ये कांग्रेस का ड्रामा है। इसलिए मैंने कहा कि कांग्रेस पार्टी पूरे के पूरे एक परिवार को देश से ऊपर मानते हैं।
And frankly, the fact that he took a week or his lawyers took a week to prepare the defense means that we're taking the judiciary with utmost seriousness and we are going ahead and filing a serious appeal. I think there are real doubts about the soundness of the verdict to begin with, and there is also some serious concern about the quantum of the sentence. So on both grounds, I hope there'll be a very strong and robust appeal, and I'm sure that that's why they took a full week to prepare it.
एक तरफ बीजेपी पार्टी कहते हैं कि राहुल जी क्यों नहीं जुडिशियरी के पास जाते हैं, उनका अगर केस है तो क्यों नहीं जाते हैं, अगर जाते हैं तो भी उनको बुरा लगते हैं। हम तो जुडिशियरी के पास ही जाएंगे। राहुल गांधी जो कह दिए हैं वो डरते नहीं, डरने वाला है नहीं। वो मोदी जी से और अमित शाह जी के सामने सर झुकाएंगे नहीं, तो कहां जाएंगे? जुडिशियरी के पास ही तो जाना है।
लीगल टीम अपना काम कर रही है, हमारी गुजरात की लीगल टीम है, हमारी देश की लीगल टीम है और लीगल एस्पेक्ट को वो देख रहे हैं। हम तो सिर्फ एक कांग्रेस का कार्यकर्ता होने के नाते उनके साथ यहाँ सड़क पे खड़ा होने से हमको कोई रोक नहीं सकता। जब हमारा नेता यहाँ आएगा हम उनके साथ खड़े रहेंगे, कांग्रेस का कार्यकर्ता खड़ा रहेगा। अब वो चाहे मुख्यमंत्री है, चाहे कोई आदमी वर्किंग कमेटी का मेंबर है, चाहे कितना भी बड़ा नेता है, भावनात्मक रूप से सब राहुल गांधी के नेतृत्व में हम जुड़े हुए हैं। तो वो जहां जाएंगे देश में, हम सभी जगह जाएंगे उनके साथ।
मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि अपील के अंदर अगर फैसला बगैर किसी दबाव के होता है तो फैसला राहुल गांधी के हक में आएगा। 2 साल की जो उनको सज़ा दी गई है वो ख़त्म हो जाएगी। मानहानि के इस केस में कोई केस ही नहीं बनता है। ये तो एक बड़ी साजिश है जिस साजिश के तहत ये सब कुछ हुआ है।
And the former law minister, are you surprised? Do you approve of Rahul Gandhi's decision to go file an appeal with all chief ministers, various party colleagues?
I'm not only surprised, I'm amazed. It's a new law of Ram Darbari trying to overhaul the election.
Let me bring in my colleague Pallavi, who's now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, the fact that the Congress party is having an ample show of strength behind Rahul Gandhi, considering various tall leaders are going to be assembling in Surat as he arrives there. The claim that BJP is making on the other side is that he doesn't have to be physically present as a convict to appeal to a sessions court. What is the Congress's counter to this?
Well, technically speaking, the BJP is right. The convict doesn't really need to go personally for the Court of Appeal. But we also have to understand the politics behind it. Apart from showing that they are brazening it out, they are unapologetic. I think this is Rahul Gandhi's way of also with an eye on not just the Karnataka elections, but also a cadre which is otherwise not very enthused. A show of strength also builds up this feeling among the cadre that look, we have a leader amidst us who is not scared to take on the government or the BJP as the case may be. But you know, to all that criticism which is coming in from the BJP on the presence of Rahul Gandhi and an entire contingent in Surat, the Congress's take is very, very clear. He has every right to go where he wants to. He also wants to expose how the BJP misuses the investigative agencies, twist the law because they are scared of Rahul Gandhi. So for the Congress party, there is no reason why Rahul Gandhi and all the leaders should not be there, and they certainly do not want to be seen to being very defensive or on a back foot on this.
All right. Pallavi, stay on with us. So we also should be getting in a word from court. Janak Dave, our colleague, is joining us live from the Surat Sessions Court. Janak, वहाँ पे अभी क्या माहौल है? सारे कांग्रेस लीडर्स अभी वहाँ पे आ चुके हैं. जो कांग्रेस के शो ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ की हम बात कर रहे हैं, उसके बारे में क्या जानकारी दे सकते हैं? Starting with Rahul Gandhi, as after 10 to 11 days, he is now set to appeal before a Surat Sessions Court over the verdict that had convicted him in a defamation suit that was filed in 2019. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will be challenging his conviction and sentencing in the Surat Sessions Court at 2:45 p.m. today in connection with the Modi surname defamation case. The appeal is going to be on the grounds that Rahul Gandhi did not defame any OBC community and that the judgment announced was wrong. The Congress leader will be accompanied by Priyanka Gandhi and also Chief Ministers Ashok Gehlot, Bhupesh Baghel and Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu. Other senior leaders, including Digvijay Singh and KC Venugopal, will also accompany Rahul Gandhi. Meanwhile, posters of Rahul Gandhi have been put up on the way to the Surat Sessions Court. On the other hand, BJP has questioned Rahul Gandhi for going to Surat Court to file the appeal, as it is not necessary for him to personally appear as a convict. BJP also slammed Congress leaders for accompanying Rahul Gandhi to Surat and accused the Grand Old Party of pressurizing the court.
ये राहुल गांधी जी का अहंकार है जो पिछड़े समाज से माफ़ी मांगने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। ऐसी क्या मजबूरी है राहुल जी कि आप पिछड़े समाज को अपमानित तो करते हैं लेकिन माफ़ी मांगने के लिए तैयार नहीं होते? ऑर्डर आया, उस दिन भी उनसे कहा गया कि आप माफ़ी मांगना चाहते हैं, तो आपने सुना राहुल जी ने कहा था गांधी माफ़ी नहीं मांगते।
कोर्ट के निर्णय के ऊपर हम बहस नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन अन्याय के खिलाफ तो हम लड़ सकते हैं। तो हम लड़ रहे हैं सरकार के खिलाफ। वो ये नहीं चाहते कि यहाँ पर जेपीसी बिठाए।
Welcome back, and here's an important message coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is also a direct message to the opposition parties. The Prime Minister has put out a word of encouragement for the Central Bureau of Investigation. The Central Investigation Agency has been under the line of fire by various opposition parties, arguing that it has been used for political purposes. The Prime Minister goes on to say that the time has come when the nation is with the law enforcement agencies and there is political willingness to carry out investigation and secure conviction in high-profile cases. The Prime Minister has also put out that word to the agency that the officers and the people responsible for investigation need not be scared for taking action against the corrupt who might be powerful and mighty. He has also said that those who are corrupt are very powerful, and when they are caught, they activate an ecosystem to malign the image of the institution. Now, this comes at a time when multiple opposition netas, as I've said, have claimed that centre misuses these agencies. Whether it's Enforcement Directorate or whether it's the CBI, they have been under the line of fire by the opposition parties. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said.
आज देश में करप्शन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए राजनीति की इच्छा शक्ति में कोई कमी नहीं है। आपको कहीं पर भी हिचकने, कहीं रुकने की जरूरत नहीं है। मैं जानता हूं जिनके खिलाफ एक्शन ले रहे हैं वो बहुत ताकतवर लोग हैं। बरसों बरस तक वो सरकार का सिस्टम का हिस्सा रहे हैं। संभव है कई जगह किसी राज्य में आज भी विस्तृत सत्ता का हिस्सा हो। बरसों बरस तक उन्होंने भी एक इकोसिस्टम बनाया है। इकोसिस्टम अक्सर उनके काले कारनामों को कवर देने के लिए, आप जैसी संस्थाओं की छवि बिगाड़ने के लिए एक्टिव हो जाता है। ये लोग आपका ध्यान भटकाते रहेंगे, लेकिन आपको अपने काम पर फोकस रखना है। कोई भी भ्रष्टाचारी बचना नहीं चाहिए।
Cutting across to my colleague Siddhant. And Siddhant, a direct message for the central investigation agencies. They have been facing a lot of attacks from the opposition parties. Take action against the powerful and the mighty, and the political willingness is with these agencies.
Well, that's right. And in fact, Prime Minister not just choose to attend this mega event. In fact, the name of this event was Chintan Shivir, but he also spoke strongly against the malicious campaign that a few ecosystem existing in our country run against these central agencies when they act against a politician. And in fact, the same has been reiterated by Prime Minister while addressing the gathering at Vigyan Bhavan. Now, Prime Minister did draw parallel between situation before 2014 and after 2014, that how his government has given open hand to the central agencies to investigate cases against anyone. Prime Minister has reassured the investigators sitting in Vigyan Bhavan listening to him that they should not be afraid or be scared of any powerful politician. They should act as per the law, and he also assured them of political willingness. So this message is loud and clear from the top boss, from the Prime Minister itself, and this message is also being seen as a morale booster for many investigators working 24/7 to expose the corrupt politicians or maybe building cases against them. And this is perhaps the reason that this particular statement of Prime Minister will not go well with the opposition parties, but investigators, the officials in the federal agencies are really happy with the way Prime Minister spoke today, and in fact it has come as a morale booster for them, because time and again they have been attacked by the opposition parties, and as Prime Minister mentioned that the existing ecosystem instead of supporting or appreciating the central agencies for exposing scams or for investigating investigating or for doing a fair investigation in some cases, they side with those corrupt politicians. So it was not only an attack on opposition parties, but it was also an attack on the existing ecosystem. Also, Prime Minister did point out that how CBI, the brand CBI, has become the biggest brand of justice in the country. And Prime Minister did highlight that whenever some case takes place, some incident happens, the first demand comes is of a CBI inquiry in that matter. In fact, people sit on dharnas, protest for governments to order CBI probe.
Exactly,
So
but I also remember the time in 2013 when none other than the Supreme Court had called CBI a caged parrot. But despite all the political turbulence, this is one agency in the country that has been looked upon with much hope whenever the state police or the local administration is not able to do their job. Mr. Shobha Roy of the TMC is joining us on the broadcast. Good evening, sir. Thank you for speaking with us. Rashid Alvi from the Congress Party is also joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Alvi, good evening. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Alvi, first to you. The Prime Minister is directly making an attack on the opposition party, saying that because you're powerful and mighty, because you think action cannot be taken against you, that's why you're attacking an agency which is merely doing its job. Your response, sir?
No, we are not attacking CBI because we are not against corruption. We are against corruption. But the important thing is, a few days back, Amit Shah ji has given a statement during UPA's government. CBI was putting pressure on Amit Shah. It is the CBI. It is the same CBI today also. If yesterday it was working under pressure of the government, how can you say that today it is not working under the pressure? You know, more than 6,000 cases are pending. More than. And most of the cases are against opposition leaders. What is this? And he's praising CBI. CBI is an agency of Bharatiya Janata Party now. CBI is working totally. I am not accusing CBI. What I am saying, they are bound to work under the pressure of this government, this BJP government. That is unfortunate. So,
but sir, I have to ask you this as an objective person, that the CBI was called a caged parrot during your government, not during the tenure of the present NDA government.
No, it was so. Modi Sahib should say that even yesterday it was working under pressure. Today it is working under pressure. Modi Sahib should give this statement.
But sir,
he says that there is zero tolerance.
Aren't you making a tacit, guilt admission of sorts, sir? There.
Not at all. Not at all. What I'm saying that Modi Sahib is using and misusing not only CBI, ED. It is his statement in Lok Sabha. ED has brought all opposition leaders together. What is this? And he was laughing. It means ED is working under his pressure.
Okay.
If ED is working under
Congress
his pressure,
Congress is one of the parties before the Supreme Court in that petition. Let's see what the Supreme Court does. I have Mr. Shobha Roy as well from the TMC. Mr. Roy, thank you for staying with us on the show. Your thoughts on what the Prime Minister said. Would you be able to convince the Supreme Court about this quote-unquote witch hunt? Because, of course, the BJP doesn't agree with you.
So the CBI is being totally misused by BJP-led government. CBI has become an extended arm of the government. And it's being used against opposition parties. 90% of the cases in CBI are against opposition leaders. CBI has a certain technical expertise. It has the means to do good investigation. But now that is being spoiled because CBI is being used for political purposes by Narendra Modi and his government. And that's why Narendra Modi is encouraging that, asking CBI officers to act impartially. But CBI's neutrality is totally lost. It
Well,
has
sir,
lost
beyond the political narrative, the 14 opposition
professional
parties have taken this to the Supreme Court. Let's see if any of these arguments are able to hold up before the might of the apex court of this country. Mr. Roy, I appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and giving us your time. Rashid Alvi of the Congress Party was also with us on the show. Well, this is a debate which is far from over, one of the defining narratives in the run-up to the 2024. We'll continue tracking this and much more on the other side of a quick break. Stay tuned.
कि अपील के अंदर अगर फैसला बगैर किसी दबाव के होता है तो फैसला राहुल गांधी के हक में आएगा। 2 साल की जो उनको सज़ा दी गई है वो ख़त्म हो जाएगी। मानहानि के इस केस में कोई केस ही नहीं बनता है। ये तो एक बड़ी साजिश है जिस साजिश के तहत ये सब कुछ हुआ है।
And the former law minister, are you surprised? Do you approve of Rahul Gandhi's decision to go file an appeal with all chief ministers where various party colleagues?
I'm not only surprised, I'm amazed. It's a new law of Ram Navami trying to overhaul the judiciary.
Let me bring in my colleague Pallavi, who's now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, the fact that the Congress party is having an ample show of strength behind Rahul Gandhi, considering various tall leaders are going to be assembling in Surat as he arrives there. The claim that BJP is making on the other side is that he doesn't have to be physically present as a convict to appeal to a sessions court. What is the Congress's counter to this?
Well, technically speaking, the BJP is right. The convict doesn't really need to go personally for the Court of Appeal. But we also have to understand the politics behind it. Apart from showing that they are brazening it out, they are unapologetic. I think this is Rahul Gandhi's way of also with an eye on not just the Karnataka elections, but also a cadre which is otherwise not very enthused. A show of strength also builds up this feeling among the cadre that, look, we have a leader amidst us who is not scared to take on the government or the BJP, as the case may be. But, to all that criticism which is coming in from the BJP on the presence of Rahul Gandhi and an entire contingent at Surat, the Congress's take is very, very clear. He has every right to go where he wants to. He also wants to expose how the BJP misuses the investigative agencies, twist the law because they are scared of Rahul Gandhi. So for the Congress party, there is no reason why Rahul Gandhi and all the leaders should not be there, and they certainly do not want to be seen to being very defensive or on a back foot on this.
All right. Pallavi, stay on with us. We also should be getting in a word from court. Janak Dave, our colleague, is joining us live from the Surat Sessions Court. Janak, वहाँ पे अभी क्या माहौल है? सारे कांग्रेस लीडर्स अभी वहाँ पे आ चुके हैं। जो कांग्रेस के शो ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ की हम बात कर रहे हैं, उसके बारे में क्या जानकारी दे सकते हैं? Starting with Rahul Gandhi, as after 10 to 11 days, he is now set to appeal before a Surat Sessions Court over the verdict that had convicted him in a defamation suit that was filed in 2019. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will be challenging his conviction and sentencing in the Surat Sessions Court at 2:45 p.m. today in connection with the Modi surname defamation case. The appeal is going to be on the grounds that Rahul Gandhi did not defame any OBC community and that the judgment announced was wrong. The Congress leader will be accompanied by Priyanka Gandhi and also Chief Ministers Ashok Gehlot, Bhupesh Baghel and Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu. Other senior leaders, including Digvijay Singh and KC Venugopal, will also accompany Rahul Gandhi. Meanwhile, posters of Rahul Gandhi have been put up on the way to the Surat Sessions Court. On the other hand, BJP has questioned Rahul Gandhi for going to Surat Court to file the appeal, as it is not necessary for him to personally appear as a convict. BJP also slammed Congress leaders for accompanying Rahul Gandhi to Surat and accused the Grand Old Party of pressurizing the court.
ये राहुल गांधी जी का अहंकार है जो पिछड़े समाज से माफ़ी मांगने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। ऐसी क्या मजबूरी है राहुल जी कि आप पिछड़े समाज को अपमानित तो करते हैं लेकिन माफ़ी मांगने के लिए तैयार नहीं होते? ऑर्डर आया, उस दिन भी उनसे कहा गया कि आप माफ़ी मांगना चाहते हैं, तो आपने सुना राहुल जी ने कहा था गांधी हूँ, गांधी माफ़ी नहीं मांगते।
कोर्ट के निर्णय के ऊपर हम बहस नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन अन्याय के खिलाफ तो हम लड़ सकते हैं। तो हम लड़ रहे हैं सरकार के खिलाफ। वो ये नहीं चाहते कि यहाँ पर जेपीसी बिठाए और जेपीसी के ओर से इसकी तनकायत यानी इंक्वायरी हो, वो नहीं चाहते।
आपका ट्रायल चला था, उस समय क्यों नहीं किया? अब जब आपका कन्विक्शन हो गया तो आप जो अपीलेट कोर्ट को आप डराने के लिए, जुडिशरी को आप धमकाने के लिए ये जो नाटक कर रहे हैं, ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है। मैं इसका खंडन करता हूँ। हम लोग जुडिशरी का जो बात होता है वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव इश्यूज का है। यहाँ मैं जुडिशियल प्रोनाउंसमेंट का बात कर रहा हूँ कि कोर्ट ने जब किसी को कन्विक्शन कर दिया तो उसके बाद ये जो ड्रामा कर रहे हैं, ये बेसिकली जो ऊपर के जो अदालत है उसको ऊपर में दबाव डालने के लिए, डराने के लिए ये कांग्रेस का ड्रामा है। इसलिए मैंने कहा कि कांग्रेस पार्टी पूरे के पूरे एक परिवार को देश से ऊपर मानते हैं।
And frankly, the fact that he took a week or his lawyers took a week to prepare the defense means that we're taking the judiciary with utmost seriousness and we are going ahead and filing a serious appeal. I think there are real doubts about the soundness of the verdict to begin with, and there is also some serious concern about the quantum of the sentence. So on both grounds, I hope there'll be a very strong and robust appeal, and I'm sure that that's why they took a full week to prepare it.
एक तरफ बीजेपी पार्टी कहते हैं कि राहुल जी क्यों नहीं जुडिशियरी के पास जाते हैं, उनका अगर केस है तो क्यों नहीं जाते हैं, अगर जाते हैं तो भी उनको बुरा लगते हैं। हम तो जुडिशियरी के पास ही जाएंगे। राहुल गांधी जो कह दिए हैं वो डरते नहीं।
Welcome back. In a shocking incident from Kerala, a man set co-passenger on fire inside a moving train near Elathur in Kozhikode. 3 people, including a 1-year-old child and a woman, were killed as they jumped out of the train. 9 suffered burn injuries, while the situation of 2 people is critical. Investigation is underway.
उसकी अभी चूँकि पूरे विस्तार से नहीं आया है, हमें पूरा नहीं मालूम है, लेकिन फिर भी 3 व्यक्तियों की जान गई है, तो बहुत ही दुखद है, बहुत अफसोस है। और मैं अपनी संवेदनाएं, अपनी पूरी हमदर्दी उन परिवारों के प्रति व्यक्त करना चाहूँगा जिनके सदस्य की जान गई। सिक्योरिटी को बहुत ज़्यादा इस पर ध्यान देना ही होगा।
And Congress leader Navjot Singh Sidhu visited the residence of slain singer Sidhu Moosewala in Punjab's Mansa district today to meet his parents. After meeting his parents, Navjot Singh Sidhu targeted the AAP government for the worsening law and order situation in the state. Listen to what he said.
Sidhu Moosewala ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੀਮਿਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ। ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਣਾ ਸੀ, ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਆਈਕਨ ਸੀ। ਔਰ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਕੱਲੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ, ਬਾਲੀਵੁੱਡ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਦਾ ਲੋਹਾ ਸੀ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਦਾਇਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ।
Former President Donald Trump is expected to turn himself into a Manhattan court tomorrow. Trump will become the first former or the current president to be charged with a crime. Remember, Donald Trump is facing over 30 counts related to business fraud following an investigation into a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election. Well, here's a special report. Dreadful tornadoes which ripped through southern and Midwest US has claimed at least 32 lives. The threat now continues for millions living in Texas. Take a look at the CNN report.
No matter what challenges we face, nothing is going to destroy us. Nothing is going to bring us down. If anything, we will come back better and stronger.
devastation, and destruction as cleanup gets underway for hard-hit southern communities ripped apart by fierce and powerful storms and tornadoes.
We have a lot of families that are completely devastated, have no home at all to go to, no belongings survived. So we will have to help these families.
In Arkansas, President Joe Biden has ordered federal aid to help fund state and local recovery efforts. The focus now shifts to rebuild Little Rock after an EF3 tornado tore through the city. Meanwhile, neighboring state Tennessee is also reeling from the aftermath of back-to-back storms. The death toll rising over the weekend after 2 children and an adult died after trees fell onto their home.
The loss of life is the hardest to deal with. We can't rebuild that. Our citizens, their homes, their businesses, their schools, the places they play, their electricity, their way of life has been affected.
Now, a new weather threat is on the rise Sunday for the South. Nearly 13 million people in North Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, are bracing for an enhanced or level 3 of 5 risk for severe weather.